Hello, and welcome to this Musescore tutorial. I'm your host, Marcus Unlimited. Let's get started. So, we're going to be showing you how to get at that unlimited French horn magic, and through our tutorial, you will find hidden gems relative to Musescore, as well as the world of music theory, especially relative to working with the instrument of the French horn, which has a few surprises behind the working of relative to music notation than you might be aware of. So, over in our Create New Score window, let's type in French horns unlimited. Okay, cool. And since this is going to be a demonstration of these various previously hidden powers, let's just skip the composer and copyright for now and go on and choose our instruments. And of course, we're working with French horn, so we're just going to simply wait a second. Since we're working with French horns, we're just going to I have brass selected, and there should be like a French horns here. Why is there no? I'll tell you what, it's because classically, traditionally, the French horn is listed as the horn in F, and we are going to add that to our score. And for ease of understanding, that's going to be the only thing in this particular demonstration. So let's choose next again. And I'll tell you what, to keep things really simple, we don't want even one sharp or flat in this key signature for this demonstration. That's right, not one sharp or flat. That's right, not one sharp or flat. So we're going to choose this C major, A minor, 0 sharp and flat key, and let's keep it at 100 BPM. Let's choose next. And 4/4 will be fine. Measures. Do we want 4? Nah, let's stick with 3. And let's go ahead here and let's press finish. All right, looks like we have French Horns Unlimited ready to go. It's a little small to work with, so let's go ahead. French horns are big. Let's go ahead and zoom this in by going Control plus. That's your keyboard shortcut as well. In fact, I'm going to use purely the keyboard shortcut this time and double up my view. All right, so wait a second. Didn't we make this big deal about choosing a key signature that had no sharps or flats? That I could swear this is the key of G major. We have a sharp. I'm looking at the key signature, which is there's that sharp and there's the 8. I don't know. We were very careful about choosing this C major in A major when there should be nothing in here. Oh well, I don't know what happened there, but we made that choice. Let's just go with what we have here. So I'm going to select this measure. I'm going to press the N key, which as you see highlights the note input there. And also I want to work with the half note instead of this, so I'm going to press the number 6 on my keyboard. And you'll notice it switched to the half note for us using the cool keyboard shortcuts. So on the piano, what I was really liking is this royal sound. I don't know why it sounds so good here, but I went, and as I pictured that on a French horn, I thought, wow, that's going to sound really royal. So let me just enter that F. Bum, bum. So right then, yeah, this is going to be great. What? What? And then the next thing I played, okay, well, I'm sure that's not going to happen when I press the C, right? I'm just going to drop this C right. I didn't go bramp bramp. I went. Why is this? I put it in there. I mean, I just don't understand. I'm really confused. Let me tell you what's happening. The French horn is what is called a transposing instrument. Transposing instruments are not what you see as what you play from a keyboard perspective, and the keyboard or the piano is a non-transposing instrument. So, and other non-transposing instruments would be, say, strings, such as the violin and the cello and such. So they have their clef, and it's straight as it's spelled on the clef, and we're good to go. But this is going to be really a thing. You mean we're going to have to be like trying to compose in our minds real time to this? While we're transposing by what is sounds like it's a fifth apart or something like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go. There has to be a better way. There has to be. What is this? Concert pitch. Concert pitch is what you see is what you play. The problem is those aren't the notes that I entered from the keyboard, right? I mean, I guess in a way they are, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted an F to a C, and we have Okay, so let's just get rid of this. And now that we're working in concert pitch, thinking more like keyboardists and stuff, which is pretty much most of us, are going to be thinking that. I'm sure there could be some established senior master tuning in who's been doing this for years, or a horn player. But we want this for everyone. And I want what I see is what I play back from this keyboard in front of me, okay? And so what I'm going to do now that we have concert pitch selected, my note entries are going to be a lot more logical. I just pressed N and I just pressed the number 6, and now I'm going to keyboard style enter my F. There we go. Yes, and my C, and now it has that. Wow, that sure sounds like that absolute definition of French horn royal magic. I wonder what's happening there, because I wish I could make that same thing happen over here, but on different notes. I mean, I want it to have that same. So I'll just press N, and I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll press 6 here. And what would happen if I started on this line? I wonder how I could have that same feel happen from here. What you're going to do is I'm going to press escape for a second just to exit out so I can show what I'm doing here. The interval of the fifth is where that common default magic of the French horn lies, and the fifth is achieved through the every other. Just remember the every other in about 9 of 10 situations. So most of the time it's going to be about that every other, unless there's something really wild going on in the key signature or some accidentals in the measure and such. So the 1 to the 5, let's see, if we're starting here and he's saying the every other, that should mean that, let's see, would we add our next note here on this line? Or, well, it would have to be this one, right? Because we have starting in a space, skipping a space, the every other option of the space, okay? So let's come over here, and I'm going to press N, and I'm going to choose, let's see, this one? No, that would be a third. So he said every other. Okay, wait a second. I think that'll probably. Okay, there we go. It's definitely carrying over that same magic. And these, of course, are not the only notes that you could choose on a French horn. You're truly unlimited in the actual, well, except for the pitch height and pitch depth, you basically could choose any of the 12 chromatic notes within the French horn's playable range. And even though you're using this on a keyboard or a software device where you could have, you could go in there and probably exceed what's playable on an actual French horn, the way the physics of instruments works, usually a great idea to follow the wisdom of the masters. The big guys, Beethoven, Mozart, if they were reaching out for French horn notes, they'd probably be choosing what a French horn is best at. So let's try this again. I really want to put this theory to the test, so I'm going to press N, and I'm going to press 6 again. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, where should this little note go? What if I started down there? Okay, I'm not even going to think about it. I'm not even going to touch the keyboard, and I want this same effect to happen, but from a different starting point. So I think he said every other. So here's the same. Here's the next. Here's the every other. Yes, I think it did it. In fact, let me press escape, exit out of this, select this measure, and then press play in just this measure. All right, that's it. So let's hear this whole thing. It's going to be the beautiful, beautiful French horns happening all over the place. And there we go. All right, those French horns are sounding nearly unlimited. I just pressed escape. By the way, whenever you have something select and you just want to get clear of all your selections, you just press escape. So it sounds pretty cool. I definitely like the notes, and I like that main French horn sound, but I associate, it sounds like we're getting something like blam, 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 blam. I associate French horns as having a lot of dramatic power. I mean, in my thoughts, I want boom, 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 boom. I mean, I want that brass to be peeling off that instrument. I want that French horn unlimited sound. So, what are we going to do? I think I've seen this cymbal that starts really small and then it gets longer, and so it's going to affect dynamics. That must mean that it's going to be under dynamics here. We only have these single reference words like such as piano for soft and forte for strong and its other variations and such. So forte for strong, I should say. So what are we going to do? And You know what? I just looked down at my computer keyboard and I noticed that we have a less than sign that looks a lot like a mini crescendo. Anyways, so what would happen? I'm just curious. I'm going to select all this. I'm holding down my shift key and pressing the less than sign. Wow! We got a crescendo and it appeared right there on our music. I'm so excited. I know that when I play this now, it's going to do exactly that. Remember that dynamic thing that I just did? So wait a second. It just played six blams again. Six straight blams. That's not what I was going for. It's like the horse was there, but I'm talking about I want a Clydesdale, solo Clydesdale, riding to the top of Mount Everest and playing the largest horn ever created, and the Clydesdale has the longest hair on earth. I want that sort of power. It's not happening. Okay, so this is where you seasoned music pros might learn something in this tutorial about a cool hidden gem relative to the world of MIDI and such. So I'm taking a look at this. All right, let me get rid of all these selections by pressing escape. Hey, wait a second. What just happened? When I selected this crescendo, the inspector came up, and down here under hairpin, kind of looks like a hairpin, that'll help you remember, a little traditional nod there in the naming, and we come down here, type crescendo. Well, what happens if I deselect this? Okay, so yeah, this must be in reference to this crescendo we have. Dynamic range is relative to the part selected. Very cool. Velocity change. And you know what? You're thinking in the right direction. This affects how much of a velocity change happens from this note to this note. Now, I want a lot of velocity change, so I'm just going to jump right in here and type in 5,000. Okay, not much is going to happen. In fact, it's going to jump back down to 50 because the magical high relative to computers and music is 127 because of the MIDI specification, and our program is capable of putting out some MIDI files as well. So let's click this, and we just pressed enter there, and now we have this affecting this highlighted blue crescendo. Let's hear what we got. Wonder what's going to happen. Nice. Way more unlimited. Okay, feeling pretty royal, feeling pretty strong now. Fantastic. Let's do a review and a recap since we covered a lot of complicated terms. I've always watched tutorials and often wondered and always said to myself, man, I wish this individual would go back and recap all of that complicated stuff really quickly. So here's what we did. We brought in our French horn and we were a little bit surprised to see some strange stuff happening between the interaction of what was on screen and what we would play back as keyboardists. We found out that concert pitch handles a transposing instrument such as the French horn and gives us a what you see is what you play or hear back as well. And if you want to see when you're done with that what a French hornist would be looking at, you know, the prints that you're going to hand to your French hornist, you just deselect the concert pitch. But you can work in concert pitch to keep everything logical relative to your hands and your eyes as a keyboardist. Okay, so, and then we thought to ourselves, okay, how do we get this magic? We found out that the every other, no matter where we start, the every other of the same, so we have space to skip a space, very next space, line, skip a line to the very next line, line, skip a line to the very next line. No matter where we start, if we do that every other concept, we end up with these perfect fifths as long as we don't have some funny accidentals going on and such. And then we applied our crescendo here by taking a selection of our notes, and I'm just selecting anywhere in that measure, holding down shift, coming out here and getting a full selection. We added this crescendo by pressing shift and the less than sign on our keyboard. So I'm going to escape out of that so that we know what's going on here. And we still were a little stunned that we didn't get a crescendo audibly. We got a beautiful one laid out here visually, but we didn't get one audibly. We found out that by clicking on it, we get the inspector element to come up, and we must choose what? Any big number we want? No. We want to max out in computer music's MIDI specification rule of the high number being 127. And then we got to a place where our French horns were unlimited. Awesome. So, thank you very much for tuning into this tutorial. I hope you learned some new, cool, hidden gems and features in both the world of music theory and our really cool, super cool, amazing unlimited program, Musescore 2. And We'll see you on the next one. For right now, I've got to find a brush and brush the hair of that giant Clydesdale who is now ascending the top of the highest mountain on earth because we are unlimited. See you on the next one.